today we're going to jump in and learn about the new things coming out from SHOT Show with AGM, and we've got Andrew Becker on here from AGM. Thanks for joining us today, Andrew.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm excited to do this. It's always fun around SHOT Show time with all the new stuff coming out. So definitely excited to share some of that information with your customer base.
Yeah, and we're always excited coming on SHOT Show. It's like, hey, what's going to change? What's new coming out? Everyone's looking forward to it, and we're excited about that. But before we jump into that stuff, why don't you give us a little heads up on what AGM's been up to the last little while?
So it was a big year for us. 2023 was good to us. I know it was kind of a tough year for other categories in the outdoor industry, but like I said, luckily we didn't see that. So really positive year, a lot of growth. And with that, we wanted to make sure that we're not kind of slacking anywhere if we can help it. So it was a big year for us, customer service wise, kind of rebuilding that team, reestablishing kind of the precedent of we want that to be something that we're known for and not something that we're lacking at. Other big thing, committing more to our Texas facility with that more centrally located area, or that more centrally located warehouse that we're in. I mean, we're getting stuff out quick, and it's getting to people quick. I mean, it's 20 minutes away from the DFW International Airport, one of the biggest in the country. So whether you're down the street here in Texas where we are or on the other side of the country, I mean, I think everybody's getting stuff within 3 days. So that's been a big win for us as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I saw a picture of it for the first time. Anyways, that looks like a big old warehouse.
Oh yeah. We're filling it up. They're already running out of room in there. So hopefully maybe 2024 will be another warehouse expansion.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, I can attest to customer service. You guys have been spot on and top of the line. So we appreciate your dedication to customer service and like you said, getting these into our hands quick. You guys do a great job of that.
Good. We'll keep it up in 2024.
Awesome. Okay, so jumping in, what's the first update, first scope you have to share with us that's new for SHOT Show?
Well, I mean, the big one that everybody's going to be the most excited about is by far going to be the Rattler V2. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I know that you and I have kind of talked about some improvements that you wanted to see, improvements that I wanted to see, and I can confidently say I think they nailed it. I've been lucky enough to get behind these units. Taking them out hunting a couple times, just really, really impressive units. And we'll kind of go over it a little bit just so your customers can kind of know what's coming, maybe find some information that they were looking for here. So just overall, obviously, the big change is going to be the housing. It was a really popular housing. People liked that button map on the top. They liked everything being right there, not having to go back in the menu unless if they didn't want to. So we tried to keep that as much as possible on the V2. Very little changes, trying to, keep everything as much in the same spots as we possibly could. With that, we did incorporate a throw lever kind of built into the front of it, especially, guys up north that are going to be running gloves the majority of the season, a lot easier for them to make those adjustments. We're still using American Defense mounts with everything. They've been great to us, really supportive of us. So we're definitely going to continue moving forward with them. The biggest change is going to be the battery system. I know CR123s have their place in the world, and it's no longer in the Rattler series. So we're moving to a proprietary battery system that is a removable, rechargeable system. I personally have used this and gotten about 11 hours out of it. So let's call it 10 hours to be safe. They're going to get 2 of those out of the box. So we're going from 5 or 6 hours with a Rattler V1 with CR123s to Rattler V2, 20 hours out of the box with these new battery systems.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a big win. And I think that was kind of the Achilles heel of the Rattlers. But to be honest, people love the Rattlers. You got everything from that TS19 256 at $1,000, all the way on up to that TS50 640. But and so we're including an external battery pack, right. the Rat Bats, the battery extensions have been real popular. Kind of making it work, right? Because people love the size, love the quality, and so sounds like you guys nailed that. Being able to have 2 10-hour battery packs, that's huge.
And the guys that really like the battery packs, myself included, I've been running one of those for years. They still can do that. It does have the USB-C, but with these new battery systems, I'm really hoping that guys can kind of cut down their overall size on their rigs, what's coming off the side of it, the weight of it overall. So just to kind of get everything to remain in that small compact size that the Rattlers are kind of known for, we're definitely excited about that. And as we are kind of cutting back on some of the extra equipment they need, no more audio recording in the field, or extra device trying to do it through your phone, because all of these devices are going to have full audio recording with shot activated recording. So everything that people have kind of been asking for, oh, I wish it had this, it's great, I just if it had that, it could be. I think we have everything in there for them now.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a lot of fun, especially when you shoot and you can hear that thud from the impact, right? Or you get some funny comments from your buddy you're hunting with. And I do think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't need that, but then they see a video where they hear that and it's awesome. And yeah, we had people trying to record with their phones, and they have that out, so that they can catch the audio, and then they're going dead because it's so cold out, etc. Anyway, so
exactly. Yeah, and like you said, with the cold weather, cold weather destroys CR123 batteries. So I'm really thinking that these battery packs here, for people in your neck of the woods, making this a more of a viable option for them when the temps do plunge. So I haven't taken it out anywhere as cold as you guys get. I've only gotten it down to about 30, but it worked pretty good for me.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be testing it. We love to throw it in the freezer at 0 degrees and test that battery life. So absolutely. Yeah, definitely testing. But most people, like 10 hours, usually they're going out 4 to 8 hours a night. So even just on one battery, you don't have to worry about replacing it. If you're doing a 24-hour hunt and you're going to be hunting 14 hours one night, swap it out once. That's huge. So
oh yeah, and for the guys that are a little bit more casual, or the guys that are good about putting their scope in standby or turning it off, it's not out of the question at all to be able to hunt the scope for 3-4 nights in a row. If you're going out for a few hours at a time, whatever. Yeah, which has been really nice. That was always kind of the deal. The few opportunities that I get to go, it's like the first thing, like let me go fire it on and see what my batteries are, make sure I've got a handful of batteries, done.
Yeah. Oh, that's and the other thing too. The Rattlers are so compact; they work awesome as a monocular as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're small enough, and that dual purpose, being able to use it as monocular and then have it for a buddy scope, right? You get a buddy to come over to hunt, and the one hard part about that, was the battery system. Running the CR123s, or if you have that the battery extension to run the 16650s, it sticks out there a little further. Anyway, so now it's like the perfect dual combination there for monocular scope. With that ADM mount, you can slap it back on. Anyways,
absolutely. Awesome. Couple other changes, or maybe a lack of change that just want to make sure that your customers know. There's not going to be any change in the sensor of the 256 Rattler V2. So if you line up V1, V2 side by side, image wise, they will look exactly the same. The improvement there is going to be your battery, adding audio, the new housing. Where you're really going to see the biggest change is going to be in the 384 series. So moving to a 12 micron display, that's going to increase our base magnifications to 2x and 3x for the 25 and 35 384. So having a 3x base 384, that's something that I've been pushing for since I started at AGM. That's a great all-around base magnification. We just didn't have it in the Rattler series yet. The Adder had the 3x base and it did really well for us. And now to have some of the options that the Adder had, the updated sensor now, similar to what the Sidewinder has, kind of this all-in-one package. Again, just really excited about that. The 640s, those will have the same base magnifications at 2.5 and 2, but they do have that sensor improvement, bringing that the sensitivity rating down. Basically, it's 20 millikelvins now. So what that means and why that's important for your customers, it's going to show. It'll have more sensitivity to contrast. So, and I'm sure you guys have done some videos that kind of explains this as well. But so basically, if you have, different heated objects. So you get a couple pigs, a coyote, a bunch of trees, shrubs, whatever. You're going to see a lot more definition between those objects. And I can tell you, personally from using them now, shooting past a tree line into the thick, like, bushes, shrubs, whatever in there was so much easier with these devices than it ever has been before with the Rattlers that we had previously. So, improvements all around. 384 and 640, 256, again, being that same sensor as the previous models that people were really liking, just, with kind of the bells and whistles of the audio recording, battery, etc.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So we recently did a video kind of showing the importance of those contrast settings. And like you said, to a sub 20 millikelvin, it wasn't like 2 years ago, sub 40 millikelvin was the standard.
Right.
The scopes that are still sub 40, it's like, do we really want those? Because a 384 oftentimes can see better detail than some of those 640s, that are still at sub 40. And anyway, so bringing that down, and like you said, in the Rattler series, having it be to where you can get that crisp, clear image, you can see the detail, in the animal, in the background. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, your southern hog hunters are gonna, I'm sure, appreciate that the most. Those guys in your Mississippi, Alabama, southern Georgia, whatever, that are approaching that 100% humidity mark that all thermals are terrified of. These, I was really impressed with how they did. So, like I said, I think they managed to kind of hit the complete package with this one and just nail it.
Yeah, awesome. And so let's talk about pricing just a little bit. So the TS19 and the 256 and the TS25 256, you already mentioned, are going to stay at the same price point.
Same price point there. So $995, $1195. Nothing new for the end users to learn there, aside from some new specs. The 35 and 25 384, those will be at $2,100 and $2,500. Your 35 640 and 50 640 are at $4,000 and $4,500.
Okay, great. So and so for the 256 line, keeping those same prices, adding the audio at that better battery life. Anyways, that's a huge win, a huge value. They were already a huge value, at that price point.
Yeah, it's really hard to beat. Even going up to $1,500, $1,600, $700, $1,700, $1,800 optics. It's just really hard to beat that with the battery that is it's easy and it works. I know sometimes proprietary battery systems can go a little sideways, and take a little more work down the road. So I don't anticipate any of that coming. Like I said, I've used these batteries in the field probably since about September or so. So yeah, that's a lot of bang for your buck in those 256 scopes. And the Rattler 35 384 with a 3x base at 2495 map, I think that's going to be a really hard scope to beat all around.
Yeah, no, I agree. There were I think a lot of people that were opting to step up to that adder because it had that 3x base, but would rather have preferred the small compactness of of the Rattler, and so now they've got that equal choice there, right? Hey, I've got a 3x.
And it's really nice to be able to offer that from us as a manufacturer too. I know, there's some other companies, some of our competitors are kind of limiting people on, what their form factor offering is. And for us to be able to say, hey, you've got I don't know, a 243 bolt gun that you want to shoot some pigs with, whatever, but that Rattler just doesn't come quite far back enough. Perfect. Like, here's the adder, you're ready to go, versus the guy that's, hey, I have a 7.5 inch 300 blackout. I want the smallest package popular. It's like, cool, the Rattler, it's perfect for you. So, just being able to offer those two different form factors, I think is, it's been kind of a blessing for the sales staff too, because we don't have to kind of force the round peg in the square hole anymore, and just kind of, make it work. It's a great scope, whatever. So, I know, I'm sure the rest of the guys appreciate having that offering as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, let's step into your next scope.
So next up, we're going to have the Clarion. It's a really cool unit. Not a lot of other items out there like that in the category. It's essentially a dual focus thermal scope. So basically your end user is able to change their base magnification, their optical magnification, and keep in mind the optical magnification at base, like that's where your scope is always going to look the best. Whenever you hit that digital magnification, you're, degrading that image, you're seeing the pixelization, whatever. So we'll take the 384, for example, to have a 2x base or a 4.5 base, and then use your digital magnification. You're essentially, in my opinion, going to be able to chase down any animal on this continent with one thermal scope. So instead of having to have, I'm going up north, I want to go shoot coyotes. They're smarter animals. They're going to be much further away, but my scope's a 2x. Do I get another scope? Like, what am I doing? So just to be able to simply rotate the focus ring and take that up to a 4.5 at 384, I mean, that's fantastic. And the best part about that, you're not stuck at 4.5. Like, that's a really high base magnification, So to be able to get back down to 2 and have a wider field of view, really, really cool optics. These are, I'm personally excited about as a user of all this stuff. This is it's kind of a fun new technology I'm glad we're playing in. So like I said, your 384 base magnifications are either a 2x or 4.5. Your 640 is at 2 and 3. So your 3x 640, there's not a lot of them out there. The ones that are can be very expensive. So to have, at $5,500 retail for a 640, essentially 2 scopes at 2x and 3x, where that price point getting to where some people are just offering a 3x 640. So that's, something, like I said, we're really excited about. Your 384 is going to come in right at $3,500. So $3,500 for 2x and 4x. And, at $3,500, there's still, a lot of other 384 scopes that are more expensive than that, different features, obviously, but just being able to offer both of those base magnifications. And again, I mean, the biggest thing, not being stuck with a 4.5 base magnification and coming down. Years ago, there were some high base magnification scopes like that, and they were really popular in certain parts of the world. Your Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. You remember probably which scopes I'm talking about, but it was tough for the rest of the entire country, because what's the guy in South Texas going to do with a 4.5 base, unless they have the real estate for it. So just to be able to go back and forth and still have that digital magnification behind you, I think the Clarion will fit a need for some of the more hardcore hunters that are out there chasing everything, versus the guy that a Rattler 256 is perfect for him, just shooting the pigs that come in his backyard,
Yeah. No, this sounds, this is exciting. This is kind of the next, step, we've kind of been waiting for, like in thermal, especially the rifle scopes, to get into it. And I just want to point out like the value add there. So you talked about the 384 version, you got the 2X, right? Which is great for hunting animals off of a bait. It's great for, you're sneaking in on some hogs to get in real close to start shooting, right? You need that low base magnification. Or even for guys that are going to buy one scope and don't have a scanner, right? So they're using it to scan with, being able to turn it down to that 2X to scan with, is huge. But typically before this, they would have to buy a 640 scope so that by the time they zoom into a 4X, they still have a good, good image, right? Instead of a 640, you zoom in, cut it in half, it's down to a 320 now.
Absolutely.
And so on this one, for the price of a 384, you can zoom into that 4.5x base magnification. Basically, you got the image of a 640, that has a 2x base magnification, and you got it both in one.
That's a great point.
So anyways, love that. We have lots of guys here. So here where we're at in Idaho, it's coyote hunting. We got sagebrush, big open ground that we're shooting. And so that 4.5x for making those, 200-300 yard shots, is what everyone wants. But then, we got guys that'll go down to pig hunting for a couple weeks, in Texas, or like I said, guys that want to scan with it. And if you're hunting country that has rolling hills, I've had times where, I'm hunting with the higher base magnification and someone's like, hey, coyote snuck in at 50 yards, came up poked up this little draw, and I'm all looking for it all over, with my high base magnification, can't find it. They shoot it. I didn't even see where it was. Right. So, not missing stuff. Anyways, yeah, that's awesome. And coming in at a good price point, like you said, there's a lot of other 384 scopes out there that are, more expensive than that.
Yeah, it's really strong price point. Very similar body wise to the Rattler V2 as well. So nothing crazy, nothing, no new system to learn or anything. Utilizing that same battery pack, so we will have great battery life. The biggest difference with that lens system and being able to change that optical base magnification, it does add a little bit of weight to the scope. So, going from, let's say, a Rattler 35 384, you're basically just over a pound, like 1.13, to the Clarion, you're looking 1.65, 1.85. So a little bit more weight. And with that more weight, we did go back to a dual lever mount for that. So it's still an American Defense mount. It's just kind of the dual lever system that people that got the original Rattlers when they came out probably remember the two lever system. Very, very similar to that. But that's the reason for that, is just that added weight.
Okay. Yeah, no, so and you're talking 1.1 pounds versus, like you said, 1.6 pounds, right? So about a half pound different probably.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't crazy. There's scopes up, pushing the 3 pound weight limit, right? So you're still half of what they are. So
well, yeah, and the nice part too, with that better battery, hopefully we're removing some weight that they would have had in battery pack or, whatever else, and, removing cables. So hopefully that just balances out for the majority of those people. But yeah, same sensors, Rattler V2 as well, with that net D of sub 20 millikelvin. All 12 micron shot activated recording, audio, all those same features. So yeah, really excited about the Clarions, and we're probably expecting those, kind of hard trying to hit a moving target, but probably the end of February, beginning of March is kind of the expectation to have those readily available for people. So while it is getting a little bit towards the end of thermal season, that will be a really strong release that I think will kind of maintain some momentum in the market. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming out this time of year. It seems like a lot of companies were kind of finding the end of some of those product life cycles. So it should maintain a pretty strong thermal season, and hopefully those states with a more restrictive season, maybe they'll leave them open a little bit later for us this year.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people too, they kind of look at the seasonality, right? So, they're hunting, October to, maybe March, right? And so this coming out kind of new, they have time to jump in, check out some reviews on it. Play around with it during the summertime and be ready to go for a hunting season. That way they're not setting it up last minute and trying to figure it out, as their season's starting and stuff. So anyways, I don't think, I think one coming out in March, kind of nice. You can there's always an initial rush when there's new technology that's coming out, and then there's a rush during the peak of the season too, and so trying to get them all during the peak of the season and with it coming out then gets to be a cluster. So anyways, we got to work out good.
So
one more question on the battery pack. So I was just looking at the pictures. I haven't seen one. We're gonna see one here at SHOT Show, but it looks like is it about the side, like a little bigger than like an 18650 battery, the way that it looks, and then it pushes in from the side and just on twist turns locks in? Is that kind of how it works?
So this is a V1 Rattler. You can see the battery, the compartment right there. It's about double the size. It's kind of about a block. It's kind of similar to some of the other batteries that some of the other manufacturers are using right now. It's a really kind of small, you can't see my hand, probably, like that, nice square size, but really easy though. So there is a circular basically knob to open that battery pack. So they'll make the turn, open the knob, and there's it sits inside the unit kind of in a recessed little cove with a tab in the corner. They just push the tab down, it pops right out. Really easy to change. I did it in the dark really late at night, and it only goes in the one way. So it was actually a really quick change. I was kind of impressed. I haven't used a battery system like that in a number of years.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, it'd be fun. We'll get some video footage of that.
I'm gonna see if I can.
Here at SHOT Show.
Yeah, we'll definitely go through that. And it does come, like I said, 2 with each unit with a charger. And that's not just like you plug the battery in type of deal. It is an actual charging base that the battery will drop into. Red light when it's charging, green light when it's ready to go. So nice and easy, really similar, like I said, to some of the other systems that have been utilized in the past.
Great. Okay. Well, I think we covered that Clarion pretty good. I know you have some other updates coming as well. Why don't you tell us?
A couple new items, couple other new items. The Secutor LRF, that's a little bit more limited. I mean, that was made for a specific purpose. More of overseas type stuff, exportable type. But where I could see that becoming a player for the commercial market is it's essentially the Rattler 2 core. So, great sensor in that thing, a similar housing to it, laser rangefinder incorporated, obviously laser rangefinder out to 1,000 meters as well, which on the varmints, it was only 600, in kind of that more compact housing like the Rattlers. The only thing with that unit, it is 4 CR123 batteries that power it, which, after we just talked about Rattler V2 and Clarion and these new batteries, seems like a step back. But I mean, like I said, the purpose of that unit being built was, to be able to kind of play in that exportable range. But 35 384, 50 640, and 75 640. So while 4 CR123s is not ideal, I mean, we can obviously run a battery pack with it, but I think that unit, while it's not going to be, obviously laser rangefinder units aren't the most popular units anyway, because of the extra price tag and the extra land that you have to be able, land access that you have to be able to use that fully. But I think this will be a good option for somebody that's looking for that. When I pick this rifle up, I want to know exactly how far away my target is. I want to know what it is. I want it to look good, whatever. And having an upgraded sensor over the original varmints that we have, I think this might be a good option for the right type of person. The price points on those, you're looking at $2,900 for a 35 384, so sub $3,000 35 millimeter laser rangefinder unit. And with that, you're getting a 3x base with the same 8x digital zoom as our other optics. The 5640 is a 2.5 base, like most 5640s are. The kind of interesting thing about this one, though, is we will have a 75 millimeter 640 with a 5x base. So I'm not shooting anything under 200 yards, really long range. Or the guy that is a long range guy that's like, I'm not getting into coyote hunting. It's 250, whatever. This is too easy for me. So now that person with a 5X 640 base, can confidently reach out there and make a lot further shot than, say, the guys running around in the South with like a 2X base 640 that wouldn't dream of doing something over 350 or 300 or something like that. So, like I said, really interesting scope. Made for a specific purpose, but I think we'll definitely see some kind of bleed over to that in the U.S. commercial market because of, like I said, that sensor, specifically that laser rangefinder being out to 1,000 meters and, kind of having that more compact look and not having to use the 18650s like the varmint. So, interesting unit, definitely something to kind of keep an eye on. And, it wouldn't surprise me at all, like I said, if that thing ended up being a little bit more popular than we thought.
Yeah, and that's a hard part too. So a 5x base magnification with a 640 is going to have an awesome image, kind of like you're saying. You got that reduced field of view, but there isn't really much out there on the market that does that. And like I said, here we have big open country. We also have an open time for hunting wolves, and so people, it's like, hey, if I do see a wolf at 650 yards, I want to be ready to shoot it. It might be a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having that higher base mag, especially if you have a thermal monocular for doing most of your scanning, then that base mag isn't a huge deal. And then also that 1,000-yard rangefinder, being able to consistently pick up stuff, like I said, at 650 yards, a lot of times that shooting out to 650, you can get pretty accurate even off of a tripod, right? And so that's where, with that varmint having the 600-yard rangefinder, typically it's consistent, out to 450 yards, right? And so getting that extra few hundred yards there could make the difference between a wolf kill and not. And there's going to be guys that opt for that. And so that's cool to be able to offer to our customers. So excited for that.
I saw the 75 640 in the warehouse, and I don't think I've seen a 75 millimeter unit in quite a while. There's not many of those running around out there. So, like I said, just, kind of being a fan of this stuff, it was, whoa, what is that? Let me see that thing. And, they looked really good. It's, like I said, that great sensor, but the laser rangefinder for me was the biggest, that biggest limitation of the varmint, stopping at 600. And now, one of the biggest pluses of that model potentially being that 1,000-yard laser rangefinder. So, yeah, exciting item. But kind of moving on from that, there's some improvements being made in the clip-ons as well. So clip-ons were tough. Over the years, it seemed like clip-ons have seen a lot of rises and falls because in everybody's head, the clip-on is the perfect item for them. Like, it doesn't get any better than being able to, I'm just going to throw this on every scope. And then you tell them about collimating, and you tell them about upper limits on, base magnifications or the optical range that they can use. And, it kind of turns into this whole different conversation. But for whatever reason, man, over the last 18 months or so, it's like a clip-on renaissance. More people get it. More people have realistic expectations, and a lot more people getting into clip-ons, like even as their first thermal. And you never saw that, 6 or 7 years ago, or even further back when I started doing this. But not as many offerings in V2 with clip-ons. We're only doing a 35 384 and a 50 640. While clip-ons are getting more popular, it just, it doesn't make sense to have a massive range of them like you would on these scopes, because it is still a more limited market. So you are going to see with the Rattler clip-on V2s that same upgrade in the sensor. So a lot better in humidity. Your guys running around, say like East Texas or something with a 1 to 4, 1 to 6, even in the summer, it gets real humid. They're going to be able to throw that on, quickly collimate it, and be ready to roll. And the collimation on those will be just as easy as it was on the V1 Rattler clip-ons. Just, holding the buttons, pull up the collimation menu, make sure everything's lined up, and you're ready to roll. They are going to see that updated battery as well. So a lot longer battery life out of the clip-ons, where that's going to really be nice, is like you were talking about, the guys that can make those long range shots at night, are, not only confident doing it the day, but can, stretch it out like that at nighttime. So if they get up on a tripod with that thing and have a 10-hour battery life, they can be sitting in their truck, looking at that image on the AGM Connect app, and, whenever that animal slides out there, we'll get out and go hit it. But, having that really long battery life, especially in the cold, I think will open up more clip-on business for us. We're still going to offer, as an added accessory, the eyepiece. They should be around the same price as the other ones. It's just a little bit different. So it was a different SKU. So the person that kind of wants to have that all around unit, I can use it as a scanner if it's not mounted, or, clip-on mode, or I'm going, I live up north and it makes sense for me to have a clip-on, but I'm going to go meet my buddy in Alabama and pig hunt. I'll turn it into a scope. So, really versatile units, and still maintaining a really good price point too. You're at $2,700 for the 384 and $4,700 for the 640.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And that's kind of, I think a lot of people, do come into it with unrealistic expectations when they're talking clip-ons, right? They're like, hey, I just clip it on and go, right? It sees through the scope, and it's like, has a sensor, it projects it to a screen. You got to collimate it, like you're saying, and walk it through, and then talking about the base magnification as well of those scopes, and so image quality versus a dedicated scope. And so, but like you said, there's more and more people that want to do it, and there's more. It's getting more and more popular for the the chassis and to be set up to accept a clip-on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if somebody's got 10 grand in their day gun, you might as well have some fun with it at night, so definitely kind of opening those people up to it. I think 8x is probably going to be the upper limit on those. It seems like 6x 8x is usually where it is, and from what I've seen so far, it seems like 8x will be that upper limit. So obviously the LPVO is going to give you the widest range of being able to use that magnification, especially if you have a first focal plane reticle. But like myself, I have a Night Force NX8 at a 2.5 base, which is perfect for a clip-on, and being able to use a little bit of that magnification is nice as well. So it definitely excited for the improvements in the clip-ons, as we've seen, like I said, so much kind of like I said, I mean, it was like a clip-on renaissance. It came out of nowhere, really caught me off guard. So yeah, definitely making sure that we're paying attention to those guys as well, making sure they're getting the same improvements as everyone else. So clip-on people, you're no longer the massive minority. We're here for you too.
Yeah, and I think one thing we'll do better too is putting out good information on that, on what what's a good use for it, right? What's not. And then how to mount it, how to sight it in, how to use it.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that we're kind of focusing on the back end. I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff from marketing. They've been pushing really hard. That kind of those exact questions, like, is this a good idea for you, the clip-on? Kind of, and just kind of removing some of those unrealistic expectations that we were talking about. And they've been doing a really good job with that stuff. And there will be continuing to push that with comparison videos, and I'm sure you get asked all the time, what about a 19 256 and 25 256? What's the difference? And you're like, it's 2.5 to 3.5 base. That's pretty much it. But to have something from AGM that you can have linked on your website, just, hey, right here, buddy, I got you. So they're working very hard on that. Not only to support you as a dealer, but just pass along as much information as possible to all the end users out there.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate. I've seen a lot of good videos, and being able to send those videos to customers, right? Hey, I got this question, or I want to see this. It makes it super nice for even us as dealers to help the customers make the right choice. So
absolutely, and like I said, I mean, the plan for them is to continue doing stuff like that, and trying to do new stuff, fun stuff too. They have done a lot of stuff in the desert, side by sides at night. Which it's cool. Sometimes people just think night vision's for walking around at night or whatever, and to see somebody driving a side by side going 60 miles an hour through the desert, it just kind of it opens up this whole new world of just have fun with this stuff. Like a lot of this stuff's super expensive. Use it more.
Yeah, no, there's 100 different uses for it as well. We had our 5-year-old flooded our upstairs, and we noticed it when it was dripping from the ceiling fan downstairs.
Oh, no.
Right. So to try and see where all the water had pooled in the ceiling, pull out the thermal, look at it. Oh, hey, there's water here. There's a million different uses for them, right? Kind of.
Oh, I mean, and it's stuff that like I said, people would never think of. Like, I hope hopefully nobody else or very few people have to use their thermal for that reason. Sorry that you guys had to deal with that. That's terrible. I've got buddies that work in the railroad industry. They can, with a thermal scanner, when cars come into the yard, they can tell if it's full or not. Same deal. I've got buddies that work in the oil and natural gas industry that drive by those water tanks next to some of those pumps and stuff. They can tell, where that water level is. And they used to have to go and do all that by hand. So, it's been a really cool thing to see thermal change from this, Gucci piece of unobtainium that, your buddy's rich uncle had that you saw one time. It's turning into more of a like a tool, you know, that everyday guys like us can use, not only for hunting, but, you know, finding all these other uses for, whether it's, you know, like you said, a plumbing problem, or an electrical engineer trying to figure out, you know, on a circuit board or something, what's shorted out, what's hotter than everything else, you know. So yeah, it's been really neat, you know, to kind of see thermals over the last few years kind of you know, become more of an everyday thing, and I hope that continues, because that would be very good for both of our businesses.
Right, exactly. Where it works good for the customers too, they can use it as a tax write-off, right? You know, and they can find a use for it in their, you know, for their job. So we help with that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's great too. You know, that's really popular. You know, the people that can swing that. I personally have not managed to find that loophole yet for me. So maybe I need to find a better accountant or something. But yeah, that's you know, really popular, especially, you know, where I live in Texas, with, you know, your landowners, farmers, et cetera, that, you know, really have to use these things for work.
Mm-hmm. Great. So yeah, a couple, I think, yeah, anything else coming new?
Let's see. We can kind of touch on it real quick. We have our Neath digital scopes, have been out for about a year now. They've done pretty well for us. You know, digital night vision is, you know, kind of in an interesting spot in the industry right now with some of the 256 thermals that come out. Excuse me. But to have something that you can have 100% target identification on, you know, or if it's you know, certain times a year, you know, if you need to like look at animals at night, like if you're managing deer or something, you know, to be able to count antlers, you know, digital night vision definitely has its place. And, you know, it's really nice as well with these daytime color modes. Like, you want to go, you know, out to your lease or whatever and go deer hunt, like shoot that thing with a Neath digital scope, you know, in full color. You know, they look fantastic. And then you know, maybe you didn't shoot something and that sucks, but let's stay in our stand, flip that thing over to night vision mode, and, you know, see if some pigs, foxes, coyotes, bobcats, whatever comes out. So, you know, digital night vision, I think, will always have its place. And, you know, the Neath scopes did do pretty well for us. So to kind of double down and show that line some of the same support that we have with our thermals, we are introducing a Neath with a laser rangefinder incorporated into it. So you're still going to get your American Defense mount, you know, it's still 18650, you know, very similar unit, obviously just adding another laser rangefinder module on the top next to the IR, but keeping the price point down as well. So, you know, $999, you got yourself a digital scope with a laser rangefinder. So again, you know, the people that kind of want to, I just want this gun to do everything, you know, kind of similar to like your clip-on guy, but, you know, if you want to get out of that for a little less dollars, you know, you can have during the day with a laser rangefinder, this deer is 600 meters away, 600 yards away, whatever, you know, and have that same capability at night. Whereas like, you're not going to get that, you know, from us until you get into, you know, one of the varmints, Secutor LRF, or, you know, a handheld with a LRF or something. So, you know, to have a, you know, weapons mounted night vision scope, LRF included for $999, definitely something that we're excited about to offer, because it is a really friendly price point. But other than that, it'll be very similar to the Neath. Like I said, almost the same housing, same mount, same controls, and those should be readily available as well. I mean, the only things that we're really kind of you know, not going to have readily available at SHOT Show for your customers are going to be the Clarions, the Secutor LRF, and those. And, you know, we're still, like I said, kind of anticipating, you know, into February, March for those. So not too long ago at all, you know, all within, you know, 60 days or so, basically.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, no, we get guys that call it, you know, just getting into predator hunting for the first time, and they say, hey, I wanted to be able to do this during the day and at night. I want to set up, you know, one gun to do it right now.
Yeah.
And at that point, it, you know, it rules out thermal. You get it thermal on a hot sunny day, you're not going to be able to use it, right? So anyway, so, you know, that digital night vision, yeah, way to go for something like that. You turn it to the daytime mode, shoot it, record it, right? Flip it over to nighttime mode. And the rangefinder, you know, around here especially, you know, it's like, oh, is that coyote at, you know, 250 yards or 350 yards? You know, that's a difference in a hit and a miss there. So being able to use that rangefinder, you know, makes you know, make for better shot placement. So
yeah, absolutely
exciting news.
Yeah, and I mean, I always say it. I mean, the customers are getting better and better and smarter all the time. So, the guys that can actually use the reticles and those scopes and make adjustments in their head, to incorporate a laser rangefinder for it. I mean, there's a lot of these guys out here are going to be able to, significantly extend their terminal range, by getting to use that LRF, because it's with night vision, thermal, whatever. I mean, depth perception is a little bit harder. So to kind of, make up for that with the LRF unit, we should be in a really good spot.
Yeah, no, super excited. So, okay.
I think that was pretty much everything that we have being released at SHOT Show. And I know we went over pricing on everything. Is there anything else that you had for us that you kind of wanted to go over?
Yeah, no, I think we covered everything here. We're excited to see him in person here shortly. Thanks for coming on here, giving us a heads up. And yeah, I guess for everyone watching, continue to watch here in a few days. We'll have some videos up showing these in person and how they work. So
absolutely.
Thanks again for your time, Andrew. And yeah, we're excited to see these in person. So
no problem, man. And thanks again for having us. Looking forward to another big year. I know, last year, Fall River Shooters was a great dealer for us. So, we're definitely looking forward to kind of keeping that momentum up in 24. And as always, any support that you need, anything you need from us, let me know, whatever we can do to help, man.
Yeah, no, we're excited. I think that, looking back, the Rattler was probably our best selling scope for the year, and now you guys have improved it, right? So we can only expect to continue onward and upward with that. So
that's right.
Okay, well, hey, thank you, and have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you shortly.
All right, thanks, Logan. Take care.
Yep.